I am a man of my word. I am prompt, and we are live. Welcome to Talking Thrash. I am Toni Loyal, and I am so happy that I got enough subscribers to actually go live. So thank everybody for actually doing that within like an hour or so. So I just so excited to kind of get it kicked off. So how I'm gonna do this is I am going to definitely talk about some things. I asked people to put stuff in a hat for me, and they did. And the questions are like kind of out of this world. So I'm gonna just give my take on the questions, just because I feel like I have had enough experience to be a universal cat. You know what I'm saying? Starting from scratch. Like, I'm using my phone. I have this little weird light that I don't even think is shining in my eyes. I'm playing Pandora on my laptop because I bought a camera, and the camera is not that good for the laptop. So I like my phone. Plus, I can see everything. But thank you for coming to Talking Thrash. How I started Talking Thrash a couple years ago, I actually was doing it on Facebook Live at like during the week and stuff, and people weren't tuning in, and I kind of got a little soft-hearted about it. And so instead of feeling like I was rejecting the idea, I just had like to make it do it again. Shout out to Jay the Gentleman, Dear Black Gay Man podcast. He actually had me an opportunity to kind of like see what I sound like, and throw a little shade. So we like that. So thank you for talking thrash. Like, I'm Toni Loyal. This platform, I think, is me trying to connect the outer world and be seen and heard without dismissal of one others who can't relate. I'm hoping to share many topics with you guys, including like opinions, perspectives, and hopefully we get some guests on later on down the line. Until then, it's just me. So I originally started talking thrash 2 years ago, and then I realized that I had to come back, and I learned a couple things, and I do want to share that with you all. So start somewhere and keep going. Even if you start little, just get it on the books. My manager that I have now at work always is like, no matter how many people come or show up, get it on the books. You had it, it exists, right? Get it on the books, and if no one shows up, you still had it. That was the second point. And then keep going. Sometimes a far and close stranger might need you in the right time. You know, we always check for our friends to pull up for us, and sometimes it's just the strangers that really need you in that moment. So yeah. So thank you for tuning in. It's Talking Thrash, which is my maiden name. So I got married, and my maiden name is Thrash. So in order to kind of keep that homage going, I'm gonna use Talking Thrash. I also got this because I feel like I'm preaching tonight. But I also have my hat in case I want to put it on and I want to look like a little baseball player. I do want to kind of out a segment. Hey guys, let me know y'all in here. I have a segment called Boss Up. It's where I shout out local businesses and people, organizations that I am connected with or that I know of. I actually reached out to some of them saying, hey, can you give me some information about your organization? Because I want to give you, I just want to go out there and be like, hey, these people exist. They're doing their thing. There's some of them are black owned. Some of them are community organizations. A lot of them are dealing with youth. So why not highlight that? If you want me to shout out your business or anything, send me an email, or you can send me. Actually, you can message me on Facebook at Toni Latte and Messenger. Loyal16 Tony on Instagram, and then also this platform. I'm not giving out my email addresses yet because yay, I got 8 watchers. All right, so let's get into the boss up. So after I do boss up, I have a hat, you guys. This is the hat that all the questions are in. I counted them. There are 41, okay? That means if I spend a minute on each question, it might be about a 40-minute show or whatever. I'm in my office room that I have. That's a plant that somebody gave me at work. That is a picture that I painted. That is my non-collegiate fraternity organization. I'll go over that later. And it's Tuesday, so let's get it cracking. Boss Up. What is Boss Up? Boss Up is business, organization, and services shout out. So if you have a business, a small business, or organization, a big business, let me know so I can give you some, especially if you're black owned. Like, let's talk about it. Like, if you black owned, you better email me tomorrow. No, but I want to just, especially the people that are in our area where we live, I want to make sure that I give them shout out because it's hard out here for everybody, for real. All right, so the first one I have on the list is Goodfellas. What's up, Goodfellas? It is a Cedar Rapids community group for Black men focused on brotherhood, mentorship, and uplifting the Cedar Rapids community through service, safe spaces, and positive leadership. Amen to that. It also collaborates with other groups to make like our community a better place. Shout out to Anthony Betters for doing Goodfellas. I actually had the privilege of being a part of some of their outings a few times, and as hesitant as I was before, I actually listen. I get my life from Goodfellas. Don't crap. They literally are everything right now for a saving grace for me and being connected to my people. Also, let me know if this is annoying. I know I got the glare from the stare. Next up, from the boss up, we have Never Dream Less. The mission for Never Dream Less is to inspire and the potential in children of our communities through art, team building, and personal socialization. I've had the privilege of witnessing these young people really like get down and show us some talent, be unified, and still like praise God in their own way. And they are some good kids, like mannerable, respectful, like all around amazing human beings that I would love to see as adults and how they take over the world. So shout out to Derek Perkins for Never Dream Less. Next up, we have Saving Us From Us. I got their thing right here. Saving Us From Us. It is a community organization designed to help those in need by providing resources, food, and network opportunities. Saving Us promotes community partners and practices teamwork through sports activities, entertainment, and more. It takes a village, y'all, and it takes us to save us. Shout out to Tony Chapman, aka Gamma Grind. I'll explain later. All right, we have Artivist of Iowa. Artivist of Iowa is a collective of artists and activists, right? So artists and activists, got it? Dedicated to using the power of art to advocate for social justice and liberation through a diverse background of artistic mediums addressing social issues and inspiring change in the community. Shout out to Mimi Dowd, who is affiliated and over Artivist of Iowa. Artivist of Iowa, I had the chance to actually be a part of one of their programs for spoken word poetry, and listen, everybody was so good. They were so good, and I really got my life from that. So shout out Artivist of Iowa, Mimi Dowd. Next up, we have Willie Ray's Q Shack. Okay, so Willie Ray's Q Shack is located in Cedar Rapids. All of the places I've mentioned so far are also located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They are a casual dining restaurant dishing up ribs, brisket, pulled pork, and with a cozy setting. He has a nice spot on the southwest side, I believe, and I have yet to check it out. Please arrest me when you see me because, yeah, I got to get over there. They have good food. He's done a lot of community organization help. I always see him at stuff, just bringing stuff in for people. I always try to help when I can, help him bring stuff in so I can make sure I get me a plate. You know what I'm saying? Kidding. Shout out to Willie Fairley for Willie Ray's Q Shack. Next up, we have Shawnee Cakes. Shawnee Cakes offers a homemade, from scratch, baked goods that are made with love and soul. Yes, they are. The cafe offers other coffees, teas, lemonades, slushies to complement your meals. The location that they are in now was specifically chosen to offer something in the community that has never been offered in the area. So that is a unique spot where they are in Cedar Rapids, not too far from downtown. And they kind of, it's right like there. You can't miss it. And so yeah, shout out to Shawnee Smith for Shawnee Cakes. Last but not least for the shout outs this week. And again, if you have organizations that you want me to highlight, it's getting hot in here, please let me know. I will do it. Also, I'm here for good vibes, cause I'm hot. They say menopause is men and then they pause, right? All right, so now last but not least for Boss Up, we have Gamma Phi Chi Fraternity LLC. Gamma Phi Chi is a non-collegiate Greek fraternity that aims to be a positive presence in our community and our lives. We are men dedicated to our journey of growth under the elements of mental health, brotherhood, self-awareness, self-advocacy, and silver lining. Okay. Men of character, men of standard, honors brotherhood, Gamma strong. That's what that is back there. I am a founding member of Gamma Phi Chi fraternity, non-collegiate fraternity, and we partner with a lot of new people. I love learning, partnering with other organizations, especially like other fraternities that are collegiate. I love just learning from them and just like, getting that sense of brotherhood all around. I agree with my homie, Mr. Bettis, the greater good, because that's what we're aiming for. Okay, so special shout out from the Gammas, Toni Loyal, President, Gamma Phi Chi. Sorry, that's me. Mike Durham, founding member of Gamma Phi Chi. He is Gamma Fly Chi. Where you at, Mikey D? Brian Cruz, Gamma Media, also Cruz Production, DJ Sweets. And then Tony Chapman, Mr. Gamma Grind himself, who also is over saving us from us. All right, so those are my boss up business, organization, services, shout out. Boss up will be done every time I do this. I just want to tell you before we get started, the name of this segment is called Just Why. Just why? Why? Because I reached out to a bunch of people and I said, I need you to send me questions starting with the question why. Like, why you so fine? Why you so not fine? Why this thing that looks like a thing in my life? I don't understand. So I asked them to do that. They did it for me. I got 75 questions and some of them will be used for other things that I do when I go live. Also, thank you all for coming in. I see people coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the subscriptions. I never thought I'd be that guy that's like, thirsty for likes and subscribes because I troll them all the time on Instagram on This Is Not a Podcast. And here I am in a corner shouting, talking about thank you. Okay, that's cool. Remember, don't laugh because you might be there. Anywho, I put all these questions in the hat and I'm going to pull them out and I'm going to give you my perspective. Here's why I want to give you my perspective. Ain't nobody checking for me, okay? If I do this on here and I record it and I leave it, it's already out there and I can go watch it. The other part is I don't have the physical like, ugh, you know what I mean? So I just want, what did I say? Good vibes. Don't do it. If you have comments, you can put them down. I can look at them. I probably won't be looking at them right away because I do want to just get through this and I want you guys to be blessed. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about just why. Before I do that, next week, I already have questions. It's called Big Facts. It is focused on family and church talk segment, Big Facts. I have at least 32 questions for that. But we're going to get into just why. First question out of the hat. I'm gonna shake it up because I'm optimistic. Don't give up and don't give in. Although you see, you never win. All right, let's go. Some of these people wrote to me that are anonymous. If I need to turn my music down, please let me know. People, hey y'all. People turn it to me anonymously. I know who sent me questions, but I'm not gonna tell y'all. I'm just gonna give y'all my answers. The first question is, why do we question someone's blackness based on how they dress or the music they like? Okay. I have a little bit of experience with that because I was a weird little kid growing up. I was like the geek, the nerd. And I just want to say, like, there's variations within nerdism, especially within Black people. The Black nerd is not just the one type of nerd. Like, everybody in my family's a nerd, okay? My brother is a sports nerd. My younger brother is electronics and software nerd. My sister is like Zodiac Tarot nerd. I am like a tornado nerd. No. I'm like, okay, my nerd was probably like the news or YouTube or like interviews. I like lab interviews so much. But why is it that we get questioned when we talk a certain way? You know, somebody says you're talking white or you're talking black. Let me tell you something. When I was in 4th grade, I used to come home and make tea and sit and watch the news and anything that had an interview. Why? Because I understood my voice, but I wanted to find variations in my voice. And I heard people, you know, sometimes say that you code switch or talk. I actually know where my voice is. I found my voice. I like where I'm at. We cool. But I think why we do that and we question someone's blackness is, as much as we're not a monolith, sometimes we culturally are aligned with some of the same things. And as I said on another thing that I was doing, we all grow up a certain kind of way. You know, there's that moment in boyhood when your cute little man becomes, you know, a little snotty-nosed teenager. And all of his friends become like that. And then most of the guys, if you're around, if you're not if you are different, then you get called out. I think because we understand blackness to be whatever is cool and popular amongst us. And if we are outside of that, then we question, like, are you really down for what we're doing? You know, we still have to find some identity in everything that's always trying to be taken away from us. Are you really down with what everybody else is doing? You ain't cool. You ain't doing that. So that comes from a lack of insecurity. Also, some of us live in large cities and bigger towns where there's a lot of segregation. And so you don't always get the opportunity outside of work or maybe like a program, even with school, you don't get the opportunity to interact with other people and other like cultures that much. You know, Chicago is like number three with segregation. Like, you know what group of people live where by the train they take. Let's talk about it. Let's don't. But a lot of times you're going to be only in the group of people that you identify with, and if you are a little different, you might get called out. You might be like, hey, you know, we need to know that you're not one of them. But why can't we just be who we are? Why can't I be the Montel Williams nerd? You know, take a little break. You know, why can't I be that guy? One of the reasons why in high school I got myself kicked out of PE, I'll tell you guys that a story later at a time, but because I did not want to be around all of this hyper toxic masculinity that was cool for them, but I didn't subscribe. It was just I was a little different. So I was like, let me go somewhere where that's not a problem. All right, so next question. Thank you for that. Why do people find comfort in traditions? I can tell you that tradition sometimes gives you a little bit of freedom and identity as far as where you come from. People find comfort in traditions. I find comfort in my traditions because I know I'm a Capricorn. I have to plan. I know what's going on. What up, Never Dream Less? Happy birthday, Manny. I know what's going on. And so I feel like for me, traditions keep me creating better memories. You know, every year now since I have been in a place where I don't have to work weekends, I have been going home for Thanksgiving. And that is the most comforting moment of my life, going home to Chicago with my family. Because even the drive itself, whether I go alone or I go with somebody, the drive itself is just so scenic and it's so like I'm getting ready for the hype. Now, when Thanksgiving actually happens, it's a carnival, y'all. It's a hot, like, listen, it took us 45 minutes to take one picture. So, yeah, I'm gonna put my hat on because I'm looking like George Jefferson with no hair because we're not moving that way. But I think people find comfort in tradition because I think there is a level of familiarity that we feel like keeps us acclimated to something that felt good. You know, we keep traditions going with, you know, weddings. You know, we jump the broom with Christmas and everything else, and like even with traditions of like holidays where we grill out, we don't really know the reason. We just like put something on the grill. But also traditions keep us reminded that we are okay to just feel, even if it was a bad Christmas or a bad Easter, we could still just feel like, you know, something good happened that day. Let's feel that. All right. Thank you for that question. I love that. Traditions, as Lauren Hill said, kill freedom, but I think they give us a sense of freedom, especially as we get older. Why do people struggle with realness and honesty? Listen, take me a if y'all don't start telling the truth, because why do I have to drag the honesty out of you? Like, why can't you just, I'm a hunter right now. Why can't you be a hunter like me? Like, what are you doing? Why can't you be honest about your intention? You know why you need to be honest about your intention? Because I am 5 years from 50 as of January, and I don't have time to play with y'all. I have TV to watch. I have books to write. I have lives to change. I have podcasts to do. I have wine to drink. Make it okay. If it's not, tell the truth, whatever it is. If you really have a alternative motive, maybe the person that you trying to like lie to might be okay with that. And they may be like, you know what? That works for you. That works for me. Because you ain't got to lie. Why can't we just tell the truth? Why can't we be like, hey, I think you're cute, but I don't like your teeth? Why can't we just say like, you don't look cute in your clothes? Or is that petty? Am I petty for saying that? Somebody don't look cute in their clothes? Is it bad if I date them anyway and I don't think they look good in their clothes? And then one day I'm just like, you're ugly in those pants. Like, that ain't cool. Tell the truth up front. We don't have a lot of time. Okay. Thank you for that question. Next up, hold up. I need a good vibe fan. This fan is also keeping me calm. Like if I want to pop off, it's my check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right. Next question is why do we glorify struggle like peace and rest aren't also goals? Woo! We glorify struggle. If you ain't struggling, you ain't doing nothing with your life. If you ain't struggling, you lazy. I hate the word lazy. I absolutely hate the word lazy because why do we feel like we have to always be doing something? You know, when I was younger, I never used PTO like ever. I left or work early one day and I was like, I'm gonna get fun. I never used PTO. I understood early on that a lot of jobs are you are disposable. But I also was like, I was in my early 20s. I was living on my own. I was in Bronzeville, living my best life, and I was like, I don't want to take PTO. I want to save it for what? And then I left, and I had like 5 weeks PTO. Um, but why do we feel like even on those days when I took off later, I felt guilty, like I should be doing something. Okay, I did my doctor's appointment. Okay, I should be doing like why am I feel like I have to be doing? Why can't we just sit and rest and regenerate ourselves? I'm also asking the question, and I'm not trying to be decisive here, but I wonder if we did a study or some research, we if we found that people of color, I'm being a good problem right now that people of color, when they use PTO, they use it for like downtime. And I wonder if people who are not of color, they know who they are, they use PTO for like traveling. Like why are we working ourselves so much, even on the job, even off the job, that when we have downtime, it takes us so long to bounce back. Tell yourself yes and tell them no, because you only get one you. And if you croak, you're already listed. Like it's that simple. Um, but rest is good. I think people need to rest. And like, when I was started writing my book, I was sleeping a lot. I was like on the couch, just like, and I was having these weird little dreams and like themes about what should I do? What should I do? And I was like, I did all that in rest. I wasn't at no computer. I wasn't at the library trying to research. I did do some research later, but before then, I was just like, I'm just gonna like rest and kind of get my mind ready for what I want to do. But why don't we rest? Why don't we take time for ourselves? And then when something happens and we don't take time and the ticking time bomb goes off, now we're like, oh Lord, fix it, Jesus. Well, you could have fixed it on Wednesday, but you decide to stress yourself. We're not doing that. All right. Thank you for that question. The next question I have is why do we desperately need help but reject it or downplay it when it arrives? Here you go. No, I'm good. It's cool. Thanks, man. Thanks. Why did we just be like, oh my God, thank you? Listen, I know exactly how that feels. I think because secretly some of us, and this is a toxic answer, so I think secretly some of us feel like even though this person is helping us and they're doing the best that they can to help us incognito, I think sometimes we feel like we're going to be on a poster board of look what I did. And nobody wants to be that person. And I think that a lot of times we have that in our brain, like they're just gonna blast me. They helped me out and they're gonna blast me. And at one point, my siblings and I would all like rotate the same $50 to $100, just like you borrow it's just like, and like it was never a thing. But I think with other people, especially when you're down and out, and I've been in situations where my friends have helped me. I didn't worry so much if I was going to be like blasted about that because I really knew that they were trying to help. With other people that are close to you though, that's like maybe people you grew up with or like, family members and stuff or people, best friends or whatever that you know, your mama's best friend's son, which is your cousin, like maybe those, and in close proximity, you feel some kind of way because they really do know you. They knew you, they know the version of you that existed that probably does not exist anymore right now. And so you probably feel a little apprehensive about, because let's face it, sometimes people don't do it for justice. They do it for service. And I'm learned from a pastor here in town that like, there's a different level of justice. Justice is doing it because the human needs it. Service is doing it because I want it to mark it off. It's a check marks box. And I feel like a lot of times we don't want to be the poster board for that check box, for that I did this. But we do downplay it. But you know what? We're all going through stuff. We all have gone through stuff. Take it and say thank you and do whatever you can to repay if you can, and just and also keep that person in contact, like, hey, remember, you thank you don't have, but I also feel like we might hold it over they might hold it over our head. Okay. Why do we get uncomfortable about talking about colorism while it's still alive? Is colorism still alive? Did it die? Did it have a heart attack, a stroke, a car accident? No, it's still alive. You know why colorism is still alive? Because there are about 5 or 6 famous people that are African American or black, who now all have the same look. I'm not being shady, I'm saying facts. Colorism is still alive because just recently we started seeing the leading black female role that is brown skin. Colorism is still alive because just recently we started seeing dark skinned kids on ads with, Target and marketing and stuff like that. For a very long time, any kid of color was like a biracial kid. And so colorism was still alive because we we all want a blonde wig. I'm being messy right now. I'm sorry. But it's a thing, and we all suffer from it. And it doesn't mean that we're bad. We just have to learn who we are. But why don't we want to talk about it? Why don't we want to talk about the light skinned girl that, gets treated bad because she don't look like the other girls, or even better, by administration or her teachers in school? Why don't we talk about people still saying you're really pretty for a black girl or for a dark girl? Why do we innately still see dark as ugly? So yes, why don't we want to talk about that? If you make a comment that, regardless of whether you're black or white or whatever, if you make a comment about somebody's complexion out of the context, inside of the context of colorism, and somebody calls you out on it, it's just showing that you are part, we're all suffering from this thing called WP. All right, thank you for that question. I think colorism is the topic that people get checked on and they don't want to be checked. They just want to have their opinion about, you know, like, even we say stuff like, he acting real light skinned. What does that mean? He falls softly and put his hands on his. Next question. Why do black cookouts always have a better playlist than the DJ? Listen, because we be in the lab trying to we be trying to do stuff. Okay, we know how to get everything together and be like, hey, I want to play this. I've never. Okay, yeah. Actually, you know why? We actually fight over the who gonna connect to the big speaker that's like 5 feet tall. No, my phone going in. And like, I usually try to get it first and like play a song that people will be like, man, if you don't go, that took me back. That's my jam. And then I let other people go. Cause my playlist is weird. Like, I'm playing OTR right now on Pandora. So it's like dance, like soft electronica, stuff that I walk to outside. But that playlist be hidden because sometimes what's interesting about the playlist as well is, like, we don't really know what people really like until a song comes on. One of my favorite songs is Touch by Seal. And when I was at my cousin's house in my early mid 20s, maybe late 20s, and it was late at night, and I was just hanging out with him and his sister and some other friends. And this song, and we were doing stuff. Okay, we was having adult drinks and stuff was passing and all that. This was years ago, and this song was like, just bust me wide open, and I was like, who is that? And I remember showing this on my mom, and she's like, is that on? So music just kind of like moves everybody differently, but that playlist would be better. The DJ is gonna have something that's constructed and like party-ish, but we know how to play moments. A lot of times, sometimes DJs just know how to entertain, and we know how to give each other moments with music, and that's why it's so dope. Thank you for that question. Next question. Why do folks being negative impact? Oh, let me get this one right. Why folks being negatively impacted by government things such as SNAP benefits align or vote for people against it? I think that I know where they're going with that one. I ain't gonna all the way go there, but I'm gonna say they nobody wants to be at the bottom, even if they are, and they want to align themselves with the big WP. And somehow along the way, they have been convinced that they still, yeah, on the ground running, yeah, like at a store or something, but like economically not, maybe educationally not. So like, yeah, because nobody wants to be the us. They want to do what we would do. They don't want to live the life we live. And I think that's why, because they feel like there's some kind of hope to the lie that they were told about how WP uh, would benefit them. And I think that's some people want to hold on to that, but it's all lies. Like, I don't know. Thank you for that question. All right, I'm gonna turn this light off because here we go. Next question. Why do we take books out of learning for youth, like basic math, etc.? Why is everything digital? I think because, and this is an answer that I thought about with a lot of different companies as well. I've worked in retail, I've worked in call centers, I've worked in retirement services. I've done a lot of jobs, and I think I've learned the thing. We try to train quickly because we care more about making the money quicker or not making our customers mad. And so we forfeit a lot of training and a lot of things that help our brain acclimate to how we learn. And so we figured out with a few people, with maybe like 40% of the students, and we can make it look like 60. And I don't know that for sure, but I'm speculating that works. And so if it works, we're going to make it a thing. We're just going to do it. It's easier for us. It's easier for the staff. It's whatever. And I think a lot of kids. So as you make this way that we take away from the traditional learning, so to speak, I think that's where the question is going. We also create room for more accommodations that can be less accommodations if we just go back to basics. I always love a good math book. I love a good thick old math book with, like, you know what I mean, some hard problems and answer key in the back. I always love it. So I'm turning my music down. Sorry, guys. But I think we kind of forget that we're still human, regardless of what we come up with technology. We're still human. We're still going to learn a certain way. Thank you for that question. Turning down my music because it's a little loud. All right. So the next question is, why do we sometimes learn the most from our failures? Because you tried and you didn't get there and you failed. Well, here's the thing. Failure occurs, it's a process that happens from trying. And so if you don't fail, you've never tried anything. Um, I think let me look at that question again. We learn the most from our failures is because we somehow were invested in this journey that we tried. We were invested in the process, we were invested in trying, and it didn't work. And so we have to go back and try again. And we look at it as an L, it's a failure, but really it's part of the process. Like, failure is not definite. It's not the end of everything. It's just a part of like what's going on. When babies walk, when they first fall, they don't just stay there and be like, "Well, I tried that. I guess I'm gonna give me a wheelchair and a stroller," and just be like, "Baby shark, do 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 do, ain't no legs, do do." No, like we actually try to stay afloat and we try again. And I think we learn because it's all steps. It's like we got to take steps. Okay, I learned this, what I did last year. I'm gonna learn better. And sometimes the failure is based on what we thought was gonna happen. We really did think that it was gonna be this way because our vision said so, and our prediction said so. And it's like reality said it, and it was like, actually, that's not how that goes. Trust me, I've learned that a lot. Thank you for that question. Next question is, why does food taste better when it's shared with others? Talk about how single men may not always cook due to this reason. Oh, so food tastes good when it's better with others because we want some kind of satisfaction gratification. I remember when we had a family reunion and my mom's friend was there, a family friend was there, and my uncle was helping me cook the salmon on the grill. And I was like, I'm just gonna get some salmon. I came out of town. I don't know what to get. Everybody got ribs and hind quarters, and I'm like, I'm gonna get salmon. So I got like two things of salmon, and I was cooking. My uncle was like, No, I'll put some beer on it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I put some beer on it, and then my mom's friend said, she was like, Who made the salmon? I was like, I did, and we put beer on it. She was like, the way she reacted was like, oh, and I started crying because the salmon was so good. I was like, You like that? I did that. We did that. Like, oh. So I feel like when we cook for people and we share it, we get off on emotionally, laughably, connected wise, we get off on seeing how food affects them. You ever ate something like, we get off on that because we know that is we like other people around us feeling good. Talk about why men may not cook. So this is my speculation. Men that are single who are bachelors, they live by themselves. If they're really dedicated to meal prep and fitness and all that, they probably gonna. And then there's days where you're just like, I'm gonna have a frozen pizza or I'm gonna eat some ramen with chicken in it. But I think men might want to also see the person that they love or people that they love. They might want to see them also receive that gratification of I did something good. And that's why people have these thing called bachelor meals. Like I'm just gonna eat what I like because the magic of what I make, nobody's gonna see it. It's just me, unless you take it to work and share it. But I don't do that. Thank you for that question. Next question. We're already at 30 minutes. Why is storytelling such an important part of culture? Because everybody didn't learn to read and write. And a lot of us, believe it or not, spoke different languages, not even 200 years ago. And storytelling just gives you the moment to be there with them. And even though they're telling the story, you're there with them and you kind of are remembering that you're have some cellular memory of what that was like, your vision of it. Storytelling is important amongst families because it just keeps, in our culture, it keeps everything going. It keeps what we know going. I have been doing a lot of genealogy research just based on the thing I'm writing about my great grandmother. And I'm trying to give her some magic to the story that actually happened in 1932 or 35 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And so I have been doing a lot of research, and now I'm just fascinated by. I'm also watching people like, people that passed, like passing, or like, my grandmother passes black, and, Danielle Romero, she has a channel that I watch a lot because she just brings up different people in the family. And I'm fascinated, like, how many other people are within what has made you, and how many stories are there. And so we have to do that to keep everything alive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. Why does the LGBT community forces us heteros, individuals to accept them? Why is this forced? Um, Acceptance is complex. The queer community has not been seen only as other. Tolerance is not enough. That was my answer that I wrote. So someone asked, why do gays got to make us accept them and force it? Well, because it is simple as I'm not going to compare the gay struggle to anything else. I hate when we do that because it's not the same, even though there might be similarities. We're all in different lines of oppression. Just stay in your lane, okay? But I think we work hard to be seen and present just because if you got rid of well, that's you. Well, that's on you. Well, that's your thing. That's your lifestyle. If you got rid of that, nobody would have to say anything. We wouldn't have to stand up and say, hey, don't disrespect me because I'm gay or because I'm lesbian, because I'm trans or anything like that. If you just mind your business and let us be us and stop saying that it's not of God, we wouldn't have to fight so hard. So though you're fighting, like yes, you do not want to accept their life. You don't want to talk about what they did last night or who they hang out with. You might think that they're too much, mannerism speaking, but why do you care? Because why can't you exist? Who told you that your existence is more valid than somebody else's because you can kind of procreate a child? And who told you that that was your seat to heaven. So like I we if we the reason why we fight so hard is because people don't let us just be. The minute that we can just be queer, LGBTQIA, whatever you want to be, without it being a thing, without being some study, then we don't have to fight hard. But as soon as it's an other in your brain, we have to be like, no, tolerance is not enough. That's my answer to that. Thank you for the question. No, I'm kidding. Why do we expect loyalty from jobs that don't respect us? Because somebody believed in the interview. Somebody said believe in the interview. When they said in an interview like you're going to be a great fit here, we believed it, and it went well for a while. Saw this meme one time, and they were like, uh, first year of the job, oh my god, I love it here. 5th year of the job, fire me, I dare you. I was like, what? Um, but I think sometimes we have loyalty because we know that the process for looking for another job is, for some of us, very hard. And you don't really know what you're getting yourself into until about a good 6 to 9 months of the job itself. And at the end of the day, it's just business. We have to keep moving. Everybody's going to be disposable in some kind of way. Thank you for the people that are watching. It's Talking Thrash, Toni Loyal. Good vibes. I'm hot. All right, next question. Why is dating outside your race considered self-hate, but wearing wigs and not wearing your real hair is not? Oh my gosh. That question. Why is dating outside your, and we're talking about black people, I guess, right? Or I don't know if other people were like, you're self-hating yourself. I don't know. Why is dating outside your race self-hate, but wearing a wig is not? So basically they're asking why, and I'm gonna put myself in a situation. Why, when I date outside my race, somebody say, oh, you just have self-hate. You don't love yourself. You don't love black men or whatever. Actually, I love black men. All of them. But then if my comment is like, well, you don't wear your natural hair, you wearing a wig, you wearing white people hair, Indian hair. Well, here's the thing. You can do whatever you want to your hair. You can style it, you can add, you can take it away. As long my idea of self-hate is if you don't know what your own hair look like. What are you hiding from? Okay, and that's all I have to say about that. Because I mean, I love that people of color, especially black women, can just do anything to their hair. But most of them know what their hair looks like. Some of them don't because they whatever. But I don't think that's self hate. I think that is a thing of like acclamation, assimilation for some likes and subscribes. Also, but when it comes to the dating outside your race thing, I told somebody recently that for me, dating outside my race was never a preference. It was just an option. I never was like, I want this white guy, I want that Asian guy. I never was like that. For me, it was just an option. I was like, oh, somebody likes me. They seem cool. I think they're attractive. Let's see what happens. Also, I'm still black. I'm not acceptable Negro like you. Next question. Why is it that a coach shout out to Roy Reynolds. I'm kidding. Why is it that a coach in Lake Mills, Iowa is in jail for sending pics of himself to a minor female, but the president is still our president? My question is, why did y'all vote for him? There's a whole lot of y'all real mad right now, and you had a chance on November 5th and you chose otherwise. That's all I have to say about that. Why do we hate to love but love to hate? Listen, sometimes being bad feels good. Being real naughty feels real good. I guess the other question I would ask is like, why do we shy away from learning how to love? Because hating is so easy. We're so used to the toxicity of, you know, bloat it, air this be out, or flip all this over. Even with dating, like I have some hetero friends, some straight male friends. I don't say straight male, I just say friends. But when we're talking about specifics, they give me scenarios of what they've gone through, and I'm like, bro, it's been a week or 2 months. Y'all been dating? He's like, if she came up to me, I was like, why? We love to hate. I think a lot of that has to do with emotion. I think a lot of us haven't normalized what real love looks like. We have to kind of learn that as we go. Thank you for tuning in to Talking Thrash with Toni Loyal. Who puts ice in their wine? Me. Next question. Why can't we support black businesses and not complain about the prices? But we buy other labels like Ralph Lauren and Prada and whoever and blah blah blah. Because two things I think. Because the local black businesses that we try to help, for some reason, it visibly doesn't give us credibility. If you bought a T-shirt from a local black, boutique or whatever, or a hoodie, and you go travel, there is a marketing it. There's like, oh, where that shirt from? I like that. Oh, it's from so and so. I got it in so and so's here or whatever. But if you bought a Nike hoodie, they're gonna be like, oh, he's got on Nike. We want to look like everybody else. That's the problem. I think the other thing is, and this is my speculation with a lot of black-owned businesses, is that we're so far behind the wealth gap. Like our prices have to be higher just to accommodate the business loan, the finance. Like we have to catch up, and we are still behind. And I think that's why you see a lot of our high prices. If it's something I like, though, I definitely will go and support the black business. I don't care how much it costs. If it's something that I like and I feel like I can use, I'm going to get it. But on a daily basis, like we have, people that are like, oh, I sell these bars of soap and it's black owned. And I think we have a problem with convenience. So the convenience is the black owned has to ship it to you, or they might not have the stuff that you like, or we don't want to try something different. And Walmart has 85 bars of soap or whatever. So that's kind of one of the reasons why it's easier for us to go where we used to. But support black business, support anybody that you know that has a small business. It is hard out here for y'all, for us, I should say. Thank you for that question. Why do we thrive on negativity and look at positivity vibes as boring and lame? Because the question is, when we're looking at a fight, hypothetically speaking, uh, we are entertained by all of that. If I break up a fight, everyone's like, "Man, what is you doing? You a lame? Like, move! We trying to see them get knocked out because somehow it gives us adrenaline. For me, I cannot watch fighting because I just can't. I'm traumatized by it. I've seen a lot of fights in my life. I've been in a couple. No, but just seeing adults fighting like MMA and like even like fights on Twitter or like people fighting at restaurants over ranch. I can't watch it. I feel like I'm traumatized by it. But I also feel like there's not enough of us that do the right thing sometimes. Yeah, thank you for that question. Next question. Why do MFers go to work not wearing deodorant? Talk about you. Okay. I don't know why people decide to walk out of the house and not check themselves under there. I think that sometimes it might be a cultural thing. I think some people just like, whatever, I don't smell that bad. Um, but I remember in grade school, shout out to Scott Joplin, all of my people from Scott Joplin Elementary School, Chicago, 79th and Honorary. That's our stomping ground. I remember I want to say 8th grade, I broke up with a friend. I literally broke up with them. I was like, we can't be friends anymore. We're done. No more walks around the block. We're done. I broke up with them because they smelled so bad. I am not. And it was like in the entire room. And it's like, I kind of felt bad for them. And I brought them some deodorant. They was like, I don't want it. And I was like, ugh. But I think, don't come to work smelling like onions. I don't even like onions. Thank you for that question. Why haven't we gotten our reparations of 40 acres and a mule? Okay, so it's not gonna happen. No. um, WP man, that's all I gotta say. That was for. I think it would have to do with a specific group of people that were supposed to get that. I don't think it's for everybody. We still have reparation acts that are trying to be going into place. Um, it is what it is. I think you have to do some history and research and figure out and know why it's not happening to us. Thank you for that question. Why does just the taste from a black grandma turn into a full plate? Because she don't want you to just taste it. Like when I used to cook with my grandmother, and I would like not cook, but I would help her like set stuff and like and put these potatoes in there and take this out of the oven. I would always sneak me a little something, and so like I would already be full by the time it was time to eat. Um, but just the taste is they want to see that gratification. That goes back to the question of like why is sharing food with other people so much better than just like you know eating at home. They want to see that gratification. I think historically, with every human, food is like, you know, you ever seen a guy eating and he's so cute and he's like, mmm, like, uh, my a cousin of mine says she's been lately watching guys how they eat when she was on a show, and I was like, I could see that. I can get into like the gratification that this guy is getting, and let's just say you made the food or you provided the food. That is a flex. You're like, oh, I did. It's a different kind of intimacy, maybe. Why is laughter such a powerful way to bring people together? Have you ever seen that video of people on the subway? I want to say it might be Europe or the UK or something, but they're on the subway, and then this guy's just hysterically laughing to himself. He might have been on something, and everybody else within like a minute, the entire car is died. They're like everybody's laughing because it's the thing that it's like music. It's that one note that we all can hit at the same time. You know what I mean? Thank you for that question. All right. Why are we the strongest race, but also the most divided? That is for specifically Black people. I'm going to say Willie Lynch letters. Look it up. Look up the Willie Lynch letters. Look up the history of division within us just on during the enslaved African time. Um, look at the history and how that played in. And so, like, you see stuff now. I don't want to hurt my brother. I don't want to hurt nobody better. If you like, I don't want to hurt anybody in general. I definitely do not want to hurt a person that looks like me. That is the last thing I want to do. So when I do run into people, or if I have in the past, and it was, like JC says, that fear, like, what? I'm more so like just lead with love. And I guess it's worked because I still got both my eyes, all four of them. I wonder what Thuggish Ruggish Babs is doing. That's my fur daughter, my cat. All right, thank you for that question. We got 51 minutes, y'all. I think I'm gonna do an hour and a half. What y'all think? Hour and a half. Remember, next week we have Big Facts Family and Church Talk segment. Good questions. Why do certain friendships from childhood hold a special place in our hearts? Talk about the original. They knew you, the version before you did it all. They knew us. So let me just shout out my friends from childhood. Shout out to Bishop Durrell Goodwin. Shout out to Riri Spencer. Shout out to Darlene Salter. Okay. Um, Shout out to everybody that's from the crib. My high school friends. Shout out to Latrice. Shout out to Rio. Shout out to all the Jennifers. That was like 85 Jennifers. Shout out to Kiki. What's up, girl? Why do our friendships hold us? Because between second grade, in my opinion, and like senior year, like everything that happens to us is like the biggest thing. And we ain't even seen 20s and 30s yet. But I think that they know the real us. My mom and her siblings, they come from an era of lifelong friends, which I think is so dope. To know that you are still friends at 74 with somebody you knew since you were like 5, that's beyond friendship. And I think because they started with us, they literally started from the bottom when we were here. And I remember when I first went to my school, Scott Joplin, we had moved from the Ickies and we moved on 79. And I was so sad. I was like, I like this house, but I miss the Ickies. Like, but we left Williams and we went to Joplin. And the first day I started school there was like, it was like picture day. So my mom was like, well, here, put this on. And, we was fly. So she felt bad. And I was like, this is weird. But I found that picture somebody posted on MySpace not too long ago. And I was looking at people, seeing if I could remember the name. Shout out to Jackie Apple. I forget her name, but Jackie Gore. She was in our class. All of the coverts, like, oh! But I remember like feeling so like, oh my God, out of place. We do it up on picture day. And my friend Darlene was like, you look good anyhow. And I was like, okay. Shout out to Anthony Burris. Like, that's our dude from back in the day. We just go. So like, why do I still have these people in my life? Whether I just say, hey, what's up every blue moon, or if I like comment on something, or if I call them and be like, I need to talk to you. Because they started from the bottom when we were here and we were little, and they still got our backs. And they, even throughout all the changes, throughout the good and the bad, they still are by our side, even through distance. People have moved states and had kids and grandkids. They still are by our side, and I think those are the real good people that we meet new friends, we meet new people, new coworkers, new acquaintances, new associates. We even meet new people in college, but to have people grounded, and I pride myself on it because we didn't grow up like that. I pride myself on having childhood friends that I'm still cool with because I think that's the ultimate flex. Seriously. Thank you for that question. Why, as humans, are we given purpose that we didn't ask for at birth? My nephew sent me this question, and I text him and I said, and I thought about it before I answered. Why are we, as humans, given a purpose that we didn't ask for at birth? And I thought about my studies that I've been doing on genealogy and like generations and ethnicity and lookings. And I said, there's so many lives that have lived before you. There's so many lives that you have lived that you don't even know. Do you know what it took to get you here? Do you know what all those people went through to get you here? And then when you do get here, you have the nerve to be like, I want this purpose. You don't even know what generations of people with your genetics have already done and accomplished in their daily lives, not just the stuff that's on paper, the perseverance that they have to go through. So the purpose has less to do with you and how comfortable you are doing it, and it has more to do with the movement of why you're doing it, the reality of why you're doing it. I think that's a good question because why? What is my purpose, and then why this? Well, it ain't about you, okay? Thank you for that question. Why is okay? If you think that some of these questions are too black based, listen. I ask people questions and they sent them. Some of the people that I asked are black, and they sent me a lot of questions. So if you feel like you want to pop off on some, sis, send me a question and I will answer it. I will try my best to give it from my perspective. Thank you for tuning in for Talking Thrash with Toni Loyal. Why is the black people nod the most reliable form of communication? Talk about safety, shared experiences. Because this first one, I'm getting through all the questions, so we just gonna go over. I think because in this world where we feel like we're unseen, I remember when I first went to NIAC, North Iowa Area Community College, where I got my associates. And I remember like some of the guys that were already there that were black, I was just there and they would just be like, what's up? Like, hey, I see you. Don't act like I don't see you. Because we knew where we are. We were in a strange land. We were like all different places. But I think that it's safe to say we don't see enough of each other in safety. And if you grew up in the hood, you probably watching the guy. Somebody say what's up to you, be like, whoa, wait a minute, hold up, what you want? And I think we've redefined what that looks like now. We more so say when I get a nod from a black dude. Actually, when I see black people, I'm just gonna speak. And if you think I'm weird, then you think I'm weird. But hi, how are you? What's up? How y'all doing? Because we in this time post George Floyd time, we have to say what's up to each other. We have to acknowledge that, what happened to him can happen to any one of us. We don't know who the people are that want to take us out. So we have to make sure that we're protected. But it's our own way. White people be like, we are more like, what's up? But it's our way of culturally connecting without having to say anything. Next question. Also, I'm gonna protect you. I got you, bro. Gay men, why are we such 304? I need to drink some of that. Y'all know what 304s mean, right? I'm sure you do. I bet you do. I'm positive you know what 304s mean. Here's why I think gay men are 304s. And I know who asked this question because we always be like to each other, you still, just our. I think that we have not had enough years of freedom to express ourselves sexually without it being weird, without it being like, ew. I had a wedding in 2022, and before I got married, which that's going a different direction. Everybody knows that, but Before I got married, I sent an email and text message to my family, and I was just like, I basically said, if you are uncomfortable or you're gonna make a sound at two men kissing, don't come. We don't deserve that for that one day. But why are we such real foes? Because we haven't always had the space to just so be affectionate. And so anytime we meet up, we feel like we got to get it done and get it out of the way. And like that one, that one, that one, that one. Also, when you come out, it's a whole nother adulthood. Like you got to start over. You know what I'm saying? All right. Thank you for that question. Why do we not come together like every other race? This is from another black person. Because we honestly don't have the access to wealth and privilege to take care of one another. We have enough for a few of us to get ahead, and enough of them don't come back or make spaces for all of us to benefit. Because everybody's American dream is kind of the same, but like it's more attainable for other people. And then when one or three of us get that American dream, we also don't want to risk losing it to, well, you got another one over there. Okay, no, and he moving to okay, your brother continent, and so then we lose out on this benefit that we have of gaining. Um, Call it jealousy, call it opportunist. Sometimes we're not comfortable enough to be like, no, they coming with me. You know what I'm saying? Because we risk losing all of that. Thank you for that question. We're almost done with questions. No, we not. We got about 10 more. Why do men send DPs? Y'all know what DPs are? Okay, good. I think men send them because they honestly think that they want to impress. For I think for hetero men, they do it because they feel like that's where it's going. And I think girls are like, oh my god, you're so gross. But I think with gay men, they do it because that's usually where we go first, you know, or you're this or you're that, you know. And so that's kind of my answer to that. Thank you for that question. Because I feel like, why are you sending it if I don't want it? I feel like you should only be sending DPs to your significant other, like, hey, wait till I get home. Bam. You know what I mean? Or some friends if you're trying to make some naughty content. That's disgusting. It's not disgusting. But I think that people are, especially when you're first talking, you send stuff, you be like, I don't want to see that. Put that away. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talking Thrash, Toni Loyal. I'm feeling good. Next question. Why do we police each other's hair, texture, and skin tones like it's a competition? I want somebody to explain that to me. Why do we police each other's hair, like skin tone and skin tones? Okay, so the hair part I can identify with because I remember the first time somebody told me my hair was nappy, it came from somebody that looked like me. And because we were not naturally allowed to, it's almost like WP was like, you can't wear your hair out, you got to cover it up. And then it was like, well, you know what? We don't care as long as you make it look like ours. And it's almost like we don't want, we feel, we subscribe to what they say about our hair. We police it because we know that certain looks get certain reactions, and we don't want that reaction to come to us because I'm trying to elevate. That's not what you're trying to do. Stop the press. Thank you for tuning in to Toni Loyal's Talking Thrash. I'm getting through these questions real fly, okay? Why do certain songs instantly take us back to specific memories? Talk about year, age, season, smell, and feeling. Because I want to say it's a thing that Ian Van Zandt calls visceral, or not visceral, but cellular memory. I remember listening to songs when I was younger on Oldies 104.3 in Chicago. And I remember like my mom saying, oh, I remember that song when I was a teenager. I remember that song when I was this. And I remember feeling like I was there in the 60s. Like, no, no, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. I just remember thinking that I was there bopping or whatever they did. But the season, the memories, music is so weird because every genre of music, everybody, I want to say between like, sixth, fifth, sixth, and like 12th grade, all those songs at that time of your life bussing. Like if it comes on, you having a moment, stopped you in your tracks. And I think that I remember a song from me. If you say, you know, oh, this song came out on the album of '92. For me, I know what season it was, what grade I was in, and like what time, how I felt at the moment. You know, was it was it fall? Was I drinking tea? Was it summer? Was I like playing with super soakers? Like certain things, certain colors come on. I was listening to the SWV when I first started driving. I put on Pandora and they played like Love Will Be Right Here. And I just remember the video. I remember summer of 93, how it was overplayed. I remember the brown pans. I just was like, and then I remember that feeling of summer of 93 and how like, yeah, I'm going to seventh grade. And I just felt like I don't know. So though it's a cellular memory thing. It takes us right back. You ever see been at your parents with their families and you know something and a song comes on, they're like they just freeze. They go right back to that moment uh, that it came out. That's a good feeling for me. All right, just why question that was in there. Next question. Thank you for that. Why do we look so? Why do I look so young on camera? Well, I get it from my mama and my daddy and my grandma and my grandfather. And well, you know what? My family has strong genetics, genes. Did I drop a question? My family has strong genes. Everybody in my family is fine and gorgeous. Um, my everybody in my family has a I don't want to say a doppelganger, but they have a twin. So there's always like if you brought all the Campbell side together, and if you brought you know the Brown and Heron side, all of everybody has a twin. So on the Campbell side, everybody has somebody that they look exactly alike, and I think that I get all of that goodness from them. So we want to thank my family, my ancestors, for making me fine. Make me fine. Make me fine. Make me fine. All right, that hat is getting on my nerve. We're going to have to do it with the George Jefferson, okay? Actually, we're not because I like my hat. If you didn't know what the hat was, okay, I like the Nike. All right, next question. Why do we celebrate being strong but never feel safe enough to be vulnerable? Because going back to that thing, vulnerability means like rest on what the next move is, needing some help on the next move, needing some thinking. And strong means you're not being lazy and you're just keeping it moving. Strong also means like I have it and I'm not, my intentions to survive isn't questionable. So I got to stay strong. And I wish that we sometimes would just not be as strong as we are because sometimes the strength that we have, we just keep going and going and going and going. We need to we need to rest, man. You've done enough. You've dug enough holes. You've passed out enough business cards. You've shook enough hands. You've networked. You've done enough. Let it ride out. Take some rest so that you're ready for what's gonna come. Because if you keep just draining yourself like you're supposed to be strong, you're gonna be weak when it really blows up. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be real weak. Tell them no. Tell yourself yes. You only get one you. Don't let them drive you crazy out here just because you're trying to get a name for yourself, because you're trying to get likes and subscribes. I'm thanking y'all for I only have 81 subscribers. But no, do the thing you need to do for you. The process. If you take 5 steps and you can rest and get another, you know, beat to go to the next step versus if you just jump from 1 to 6, you're gonna be like, what happened? What did I miss? You ain't even get the good stuff. You went right past it because you were so worried about staying strong. And there's nothing wrong with being strong and being built. Nobody goes to the gym and they have a six pack overnight. You have to build into that. That's not gonna come overnight. And guess what? When you overwork your body, you're gonna have to sit down and rest. It's a thing. I'm talking thrash right now. All right. Why does everything feel so terrible right now? Because we had to really think about the division of age groups in this country. A lot of young people think that this is a game and it's funny. And a lot of other us that are not so young and maybe middle aged going, we know what's up. And it feels terrible because likes and subscribes, popularity, all of that wins. The real stuff doesn't even matter. It's terrible because we have access to way too much information that we don't need. It's terrible because as America as a whole, they didn't like a woman. I'm just gonna say what I need to say. Twice they didn't like a woman. And it's terrible because now people who are now mad, who gave him a punch, now they're mad because the idea that you just think, I don't know. I think about Christianity, and I ain't gonna preach real good, but I think about the how people are like, let's get rid of the white Jesus. The fact that you couldn't even accept the Savior until he looked like you is a problem. So that's why the world is so terrible, because we want access to the winner. We want to touch the popular guy's hand. We want to shake the jock's hand so that he can be like, "Oh yeah, you're in my class. Yeah, yeah, yeah." No, and we haven't learned to think otherwise. I'm also going to say implicit bias plays a lot of part in that. I'm just talking thrash right now. Thank you for tuning in. Next question. Why is life so ghetto? Okay, back in the day, the word ghetto meant like inner city in Europe. And then I learned ghetto to be like uncouth or wild behaved in public, or like bit off ponytail is ghetto, or like moving your neck is ghetto. But now people use the word ghetto as like just unnecessary. Just like one bill after another, one parking ticket out. My friend said, "Don't move to Chicago because as soon as you step out the house, it's $250. I don't care what you do." I said, "But I just want some sushi." He's like, 250. Just like, it's so ghetto because it's unnecessary. It's so, why are prices so high? Why are people like, I saw this lady charging $2,000 on Instagram to do locks. And I was like, she did really good. You better come in there with a lot of hair. But why are we not as good as her charging? Like, I don't know. Why is the world so ghetto? Because like, why are we in a terrible place? But that's funny to me that they'd be like, how's your job? How's work? This job is so ghetto. I'm like, oh, people acting crazy. They're like, no, the hours. It's just get like, it's a different meaning. Life is ghetto right now, for real. Thank you for tuning in to Talking Thrash with Toni Loyal. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. Next week again, big facts, family and church talk segment. Sorry, I had to get that out. All right, we have about four more questions, and this is number 5. So there's 4 in the hat right now. I just want to say a shout out to my brother Shay. If you're watching, you're probably working, but Sakina, if you watching, y'all know what's up because y'all ain't gonna never win. Ever. 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 They know what I'm talking about. Let me get some of this wine because school about to start. Kids need to go to bed, get trained. All right. Oh, I love this question. I have a secret. The question that I'm gonna read, I put it in the hat. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody I did this. It's between you and me. I put that in the hat. And I wanted to talk about it because, let me read the question. Why do white gay men act like black women? My Pandora even paused and was like, huh? Not only that, like, why do you not even like black women? Or black men? Because not only do they want our rhythm and not our blues, black women lead when it comes to fashion, mannerism. Black women have always been cherished and adored by the entire world. That's who we came from. Did y'all forget? Y'all didn't do the 85 and 6. Y'all didn't do that? Okay. But I have an issue with because gay culture historically, when it came to black men, they mimicked, the women that they were around. And, and so when we started getting popular, we started taking more of everything that we do is going to be taken. So I think they can, because now it's acceptable. RuPaul's Drag Race has made it acceptable. Some of these people that are white and gay did not get any access to black culture outside of media, and so they're going to do what they see. But also, like, we've made it acceptable. Like, I was in Chicago and this little Armenian guy who was at the gay club was like, "It's okay, baby sis." I was like, "I'm not a baby and I'm not a sis," and I was broed up that day. I was like, "Hold up, player. I'm back home. I'm a little edgy right now." You know what I'm saying? Like, And he was like, oh, and so sometimes even in that space as a gay dude, if you don't want to be referred to as like that, because I know that you're culturally appropriating and not appreciating, don't come at me like that. Then they might say that I am like homophobic or like I am no. There's just a certain way you have to approach me. We, right now, as who we are, we're owning everything we do, everything that we have given the world that they take from us, as far as like media and fashion and all that. But I think they found we all as gay men has found comfort in, being a little bit more feminine, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're appreciating. But my question to that is more so like, why do the gay white men who act like black women don't even like black people? Y'all can answer that if y'all want to in the comments or in your next book club or your news feed or whatever you do. Why is the rainbow associated with pride? Because I could have swore the Care Bears. Okay, yeah. I think every pride color has a meaning. And I think the rainbow is a sign of like, wishful thinking on the other side. Hope on the other side, liberation. That is my guess. All of the colors do have meaning. Um, and the movement of pride, of course, we know was started by like, trans women and, a lot of things happened in Stonewall. There was a lot more of gay movement in the black community before all of that. But because there were so many people aligned with what happened, I would love to do some history on that. I did some research on that last year for with some coworkers, and it was interesting. But I didn't get it because I was just like, okay, because I don't really like the progressive flag. I don't like that they added black on there. But it also shows like if you keep just adding stuff to the pride flag, it's just going to show that pretty much the other flag is going to be all like one color. We not having it. The more you add to one flag, the more unity you kind of show. So thank you, Juanita Way. All right. Why do black people need spaces? Because everything is not for everybody. We need safe spaces so that we can connect with each other in a safe way, so that we can get what's off our chest without it being interrupted by what we understand to be true, fact, and real. Because outside of that is just colonization. I remember when I was at a church, they were doing an anti-racist like education seminar thingy for like a study, and it was mainly a white church. And I was like, I do want to be present for the first part because I don't feel like you can just come without any representation. Like, yeah, this is what we know and this is what we should think. That's colonization. But I do want you to get your safe space because I want you to learn and because I don't need to be triggered by what you're saying. But for black people, I think we need our space because it's always been policed by what they think, what other people think is safe for them. We always need our own spaces. We need more spaces. Even though we have spaces right now, we still need more spaces. We need a men's mental health space, and then we need a black men's mental health space. We need a student union, and then we need a black student union. You know what I'm saying? Like we still need to be able to acclimate to what we know. We still need to be able to keep culture alive, keep storytelling alive so that we don't lose who we are, the little that we know. Okay? All right, we're down to 2 questions. Why are we so divisive as a race? I think we've already answered that question. Willie Lynch letters. More so like, why don't you just randomly connect with people that look like you and make it weird? Why are you so worried about how divided we are and you don't want to unify? That's for you to answer. I already know my answer. Listen, I know my answer, okay? Don't come for me. Thank you. Last question. A lot of black questions. Why do we need our own black to succeed? Because we have to stay relevant. We have to stay relevant. We can't just not, and I don't know if I understand the reality of that question, but we need each other to survive. Everybody else is doing it. We can do it together too. I have a question for you. Why, when I reached out and said I needed subscribers, I got so many in a short amount of time? So many. in a short amount of time. That's too bright. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for all of this. Under an hour and 30 minutes. This is going to be an ongoing thing. I am not going to stop. I'm actually thinking about hooking up my small room in the front of my apartment because the sound will be a little bit more. And I might just move everything in there. I'm starting from scratch. I appreciate everybody for being present. Next week, next Tuesday at 7, Big Facts Family and Church Talk segment. I want to give you guys a sneak peek on the Big Facts. My sister helped me kind of come up with this. I'm going to send her some questions. I may even bring her in next week. Nishi Poo, are you going to be ready? Or you got to work? Because you can quit. I always tell my friends that we should do this on this day. I gotta work. Just quit. Just quit for today. Just for today. So the next week we have some questions. Here are some of the questions. I'm just gonna ask y'all. I'm gonna just shoot it out there so y'all know. You can be thinking about it if you want to type it in the comments. Why do we still expect the eldest daughter to raise our siblings? Why do we get uncomfortable about talking about colorism? We talked about that. Why do we shame people for acting brand new? Not you gonna be healed. Not you gonna better your life. Who you think you is? You got a new car? Uh, why do we get in? Another question was, why do we joke about generational curses instead of fixing them? Talking about fixing them. Why do we treat financial literacy as an option? Y'all, I just found out. Never mind. Why do we see certain sins worse than others? I'm gonna have to write a book on that because y'all ain't gonna come for me talking about it's not of God. So is that wig is not of God. And your girdle is slipping. Okay. And your son in jail. That's not of God either. And your daughter out. No, I'm kidding. See, messy. I couldn't go to church. I get thrown out because I match energy. I match spiritual energy in church. But no, that joking. I would never do that. But some of these questions though, why do we question someone's faith just because they don't follow the traditions that we grew up with? Why do we see certain sins worse than others? Why do we prioritize church building funds over helping struggling families? Listen. Oh, why are the pastors crashing out in the pulpit, i.e., cursing, preaching on politics, social situations, and being messy? That's next week. I can't go. I can't go no more. I gotta feed the cat. I don't want to do this to y'all. But Big Facts next week. Talking Thrash. Toni Loyal. Make sure you send me some stuff if you want from at Toni Latte on Facebook. Let's see. It's Loyal16. I don't know what my Instagram is, but if you have questions, Toni Latte on Facebook, or if you type in Toni Loyal, it'll come up. Send me questions so that I can add them to the other segment. Because I think week 3, I'm going to kind of bring somebody in and we want to talk about some things. But next week, Big Facts is going to be good. That's the name of the segment we're talking thrash. This week, I was so happy to get this out of the way. Whee! Whee! Thank you all so much for joining me. I have to go feed my cat. She going to kick my butt. Whee! Also, support Gamify Kai. All right. Be blessed. Love yourself. Love your neighbor. And make your kids go to bed early. All right. And also, like, when you go out and drive, like, go to speed limit. Like, you can only go as fast as the person in front of you. I don't know why y'all think that's math. But thank you for joining me on Talking Thrash. I won't dance as much next time. Okay. I'm going to pipe it down. All right. You guys have a good night. Happy Wednesday coming up. Happy Tuesday night. Usually you could be watching American Idol, but you're watching me. And I thank you from the bottom of my not Air Force One. Little inside joke there. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay. How do I end it?